Alrighty, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the e-commerce workshop. My name is Jeremy Petty, and I'm going to be hopefully teaching you guys how to create your very own e-commerce store and even how to market your store to start generating some revenue. But before we jump into that, I do want to talk a little bit about SCORE. So we are a nationwide organization, nonprofit organization that's an independent resource partner of the U.S. Small Business Administration. And we provide America's small businesses with free confidential business mentoring, both in person and online, and as well as business education services like these workshops. We also have 24/7 online resources. If you check out our website, you can go to our workshop library where you can go in and view any of our past workshops that we've done. And you can actually re-watch them as we record all of our workshops. We have over 300 chapters nationwide with 11,000 plus volunteers serving in over 1,500 communities. So Manasota SCORE has served Sarasota and Manatee counties for over 50 years. We have a little over 80 current members right now. We have helped 250 new businesses get started and have created over 700 new non-owner jobs, as well as doing over 10,000 mentoring and workshop services being delivered. And we've worked with over 800 unique clients, 43% of which are in business. Now with SCORE, it doesn't matter where you're at in your business's life cycle, we can help you out, whether you're in pre-startups or you're doing some research and some planning, your mentor can help you plan out your business. If you're in the startup phase, they can help you start and then, get through the opening process. We can help your business grow, as well as even exiting from the business. If you're ready to sell the business off, we have mentors that can help you prepare your business for selling and making sure that you get a proper amount of money for it, and then the whole transition to new ownership. And the last thing that I would like to do before we start is just thank all of our sponsors and community partners, because without these people, we really wouldn't be able to present all of these amazing workshops for you guys. So definitely a big thanks to our sponsors. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into our e-commerce presentation for today. It should take about 45 minutes, and then we'll have about 15 minutes afterwards to do a Q&A. If at any time, if you have more questions, if you're looking for some more in-depth information, or maybe I don't cover something that you were kind of looking for in this presentation, my email address is at the bottom of every slide. So please, make sure to write that down, and you can send me an email and I'd be more than happy to answer any of your questions. So a little bit about myself and why I'm even qualified to do these workshops. I am a digital marketing expert with over 10 years of experience, and I've generated over $100 million in revenue for my clients. But more, specifically for e-commerce, I've built and maintained multiple multi-million dollar e-commerce websites. Two of these being LaserPegs, which is a toy company based in Sarasota. And the other one is called Pets on Socks, which is a custom apparel company. So what we're going to be covering today is we're going to look at two different e-commerce platforms. We're going to look at Shopify versus WordPress and figuring out which one is best suited for your needs. We're going to look at how to actually set up your online store. Now, because we only have about 45 minutes, we're only going to be covering how to set up a Shopify store. The majority of people on here are probably going to use Shopify. So that's why we're going to only cover that. But we're going to look at how to add products to the store, how to choose a theme and make it look good, how to set up tax and shipping, and then also how to accept payments through the website. And then we're going to actually look at how to market your products and how to start generating revenue. So we're going to quickly go over what a customer avatar is and how to get those set up. We're going to look at some social media advertising, some e-commerce search engine optimization, and we're going to do some email marketing. So hopefully by the end of this hour, you should have a good idea of how to set up your e-commerce store and how to start generating some revenue. So for those of you who are current SCORE clients, this should look very familiar to you. This is the business model canvas. If you're not a client, if you don't have a mentor yet, this is probably one of the very first things that they'll have you do. And it pretty much just puts your entire business onto paper so you can see how all of these different channels, all these different boxes interact with each other. And everything that we're going to be covering today is going to be inside of that channels box. All right, so now let's go ahead and jump into the e-commerce platform. So again, we're doing Shopify versus WordPress. Now, Shopify is a web application that has been specifically designed to allow merchants to build and launch their own online store. It's perfect DIY solution to building your e-commerce store. It's an all-inclusive hosted solution with a flat monthly payment. I believe it's about $15 a month. And you can add functionality through paid Shopify apps. Now, WordPress is a content management system from which you can build any type of website imaginable, including e-commerce sites. And this is personally what I use just because I've been doing it for a long time. I know WordPress inside and out. Like I said, it's a much more technical to set up, but it offers much more flexibility in what you're able to do with the website. WordPress itself is free to use, but you still have to pay for hosting, which is actually still cheaper than Shopify annually. You can also add additional functionality through free and paid plugins. So here's some reasons to use Shopify. Shopify is a lot easier to set up. It's much more user and beginner friendly than WordPress. You shouldn't face much of a learning curve with Shopify. Shopify even holds your hand through the entire process, which I'm actually going to be going through with you today. A lot of features which you have to source separately in WordPress are available just by default out of the box if you're using Shopify. Notably, themes, e-commerce features, and payment gateway integration. It's all built into Shopify. Hosting is included with the product. Again, it's sort of like an all-inclusive service at that $15 a month, and it goes up also depending on how much traffic that you're generating to the website and how much sales you're doing. With Shopify, you don't have to worry about the technical aspects of maintaining a website. If you use WordPress, you have to keep on top of this. You've got your core WordPress updates, you've got plugin updates, theme updates. There's all these different updates you have to stay on top of. And, if your website gets a bit too out of date, things will break or you'll be susceptible to, malware, hacking, and things like that. Shopify, they update everything on their end. Again, it's just a service, and they're largely responsible for the security of the site. So, if you don't really want a lot of hands-on with the website, Shopify is going to be the best way to go. Now, with Shopify, you get 24/7 support, whether email, phone, live chat. By contrast, basically, a lot of hosting companies do not provide WordPress support, or you have to pay for WordPress support, or you have to do it yourself, or find a freelancer or an agency to help you maintain your website. Shopify is arguably a better option than WordPress for users who require an elegant but simple website delivered quickly. GDPR compliance is arguably a little bit easier with Shopify as the company take on some responsibility for that. And that the GDPR compliance is basically, when you go to websites nowadays, that little pop-up says, oh, we're track cookies. You have to hit an OK to accept. Now in the US, it's not mandatory, but it is mandatory for websites that are in the EU. So if you have visitors coming from the EU, if you're selling to people in the EU, then this is a must. But it's just a good practice to have this on all of your websites nowadays, no matter where you're at. And you can easily try out Shopify for free. They have a 2-week free trial, I believe. With WordPress, you have to basically get hosting in order to build a WordPress site. If you are tech savvy and you like this kind of stuff, you can set up a sort of virtual server on your own computer so that you can run WordPress. But again, that's sort of out of the abilities of the majority of people looking to start an e-commerce site. Reasons to use WordPress. The software is open source and can be downloaded in its entirety for free. It doesn't cost anything. You can build any type of site with WordPress, and it's a much more flexible platform than Shopify. You have a much wider range of templates that are available in WordPress. WordPress comes with a more sophisticated content management system, which, unlike Shopify, facilitates things like content versioning and archiving. A vast range of plugins, both free and paid, are available to help you add functionality to your WordPress website. WooCommerce is the plugin that we use for WordPress in order to create the e-commerce system. So the e-commerce for WordPress is its own plugin that you have to install. And although you can also add functionality to Shopify sites via the Shopify apps, it's very limited from what you can choose, whereas WordPress, pretty much anything you could possibly need, there's a plugin for it, whether it's free or paid. You have a much greater range of options when it comes to e-commerce and WordPress than Shopify. Again, WordPress is much more free in what you're able to do. The number of variants and product options you can use without a paid app in Shopify is quite limited, but many of the WordPress options give you much more flexibility in that front. SEO in WordPress is far superior than in Shopify, and SEO is going to be one of those main, revenue generating engines for your business. So you want to think about that too in the long-term aspect of your business when it comes to SEO and optimizing your website. Now, on a WordPress website, you have much more control over your content. With Shopify, again, you're paying for their service, so you have to adhere to their acceptable use policies. You're going to have some trouble exporting your content if you want to, let's say, move to a different platform. With WordPress, it's super easy to export your products, your pages, and all of your content. If you're planning on building a multilingual site or you have a multi-site project, so for instance, let's say if you're, a franchise and you need franchise sites, WordPress is going to be the best option for that. And the product has a much longer history and significantly bigger user base than Shopify. I believe WordPress, it has about 75 to 80% of the website CMS market share. Millions and millions and millions of websites are built on WordPress, and it's just a very robust system. So if none of that made sense to you, I'm going to break it down super, super simply for you. Choose Shopify if you just need a basic platform to sell your stuff on and you plan on doing everything yourself. And choose a WordPress website if you want more flexibility and control of your website and you want to get a bit more serious about a long-term strategy of growth for your online store. So now let's actually jump into building the website. Again, we only have enough time to cover Shopify because Shopify setup is fairly quick. I could do a whole 2-hour workshop on how to set up a WordPress website. But all you have to do is go to shopify.com and you can create an account by clicking on the Start Free Trial button. They've got a few of those buttons on the homepage. So by clicking on one, a form will show up and you just type in your email address, your password, and your store name and hit Create Store. From there, you're going to have a couple more forms to fill out. So these are more just collecting data for Shopify's end for their marketing and their analytics. It doesn't actually show up on the website. But are you already selling products, or do you have another site? Do you have a brick and mortar location that you're selling from? Do you sell from Etsy? How much do you currently make? And which industry will you be operating in? Again, these are all just for Shopify's own backend analytics, so they can get data on their users. And then your address, if you have a business address, this is where you would put it in. Otherwise, you're going to have to put your home address. I don't believe this shows up anywhere on the website, but this is basically just where your billing address is going to be, and also where you're going to be shipping your products from. So once you get through those forms, you're going to be presented with your dashboard. Your dashboard, you can view things like all of your products, your orders, customers, your analytics. Everything about your website is going to be accessed through this dashboard. So you're going to be spending a lot of time in it. But the first thing that should pop up on your dashboard is basically the entire process of setting up your site. Again, Shopify is very, very beginner user friendly, and they'll walk you through the whole process. If you don't see this, this pop-up here, you can always access these same items over here on the left-hand side. So here we have our home, we have our orders. If you want to add or edit and manage your products, you can always click on this third tab here. You can edit and manage customers here and go into your analytics here. So if you don't see this block here show up, to add your products, you can always click on this tab here. So from there, we're going to start adding in all of the information. And this entire process, you're going to have to repeat for every single one of your products. So you're going to start off by putting your title. So we've got, whatever the name of your product is. You're going to type in a description. And the way that I like to do descriptions for products is, Amazon is kind of like the gold standard. Everybody uses Amazon. So for my descriptions, I like to have about 3 to 5 bullet points. These are kind of like your key features. And then underneath the bullet points, write a short paragraph about your product. And then the media tab here, this is where you're going to put in your products, the images, whether it be hero shots, lifestyle shots, detail shots, and also product videos if you have them. The first one in the list is going to be your main product image that's going to be shown throughout your website. So make sure that you have the right one selected there. Next, we're going to look at pricing. So the first box is going to be the actual price here. So you're going to type in the price of the product. Now, Shopify is a little bit weird when setting your products to, for sale. So let's say you have a $100 item. Normally, you would put $100 in the price. Now, if you want to put it on sale for about 10% off, that means you're going to sell it for $90. Well, you're going to put $90 in the price and then put the original price of $100 in the compare at price. So it's a little bit weird how it does it, but if you want to put it on sale, the price box here, this is what you're actually selling it for, and the compare at price would be its original price. So this would be like the price in red with the strike through in it. Now, if you know how much it costs to produce your products, you can put your cost in here, and it's going to automatically calculate your margin and your profit based on how much you are selling your product for. So it's kind of, neat to see, just for yourself, how much margin you're making and how much profit. And then if you have to collect tax on the product, you just want to make sure that you check this box. By default, usually it's always best practice to charge tax on everything, because you're going to have to report that to the state. I know with Florida, you only have to collect tax on sales that happen inside of Florida if your business is based in Florida. I'm not sure what it is with other states, but usually it's just the best practice to just charge tax on everything. And then, so when you submit your taxes, you have to submit how much tax you collected in each state. So next, we're going to look at your inventory. So if you have a SKU for your products, which is a stock keeping unit, you will put it right there in the first box here. These you just make on your own. It's pretty much like a logical thing. Just put the SKU and make it so that you understand just by glancing at it what product it is. It just helps you with organization. And also, if you use an inventory management system, that SKU is linked to that product. And so it'll just kind of help with organization. Now, if you sell your product in stores, you are required to have a barcode. And so you can put that barcode number in the second box. If you're just selling products online, or you're not selling it in actual stores like Costco, Walmart, Target, things like that, odds are you're not going to have a barcode and you're never going to need a barcode. Now, if you actually have stock of your products and you want to track the quantity, so you want the product to automatically go out of stock once you've sold out of what you have currently in stock, you want to make sure that you check the track quantity. From here, you're going to be able to put in how much of that product that you have available, and this will automatically set the product to out of stock once you've gone through your entire inventory for that product. Now, if you want to have the client retain the ability to continue to purchase the product even though it's out of stock, so let's say you're allowing back orders, you can click on this box here to continue selling with out of stock, and that will allow purchases to continue to be made even though you don't have any of that product in stock. Next is shipping. So if you are selling a physical item, you're going to have to ship it to the customer. So if it is a physical item, you're going to just check this box here, and then you're going to have to weigh it. The weight is going to determine the cost of the shipping. That's how it's done by default. So you have to put a weight in here. With WordPress, if you don't put a weight in here and you go to try and check out, it will error out and it won't let the customer actually check out because it'll say no shipping options available. So I'm not sure if it's the same way in Shopify, but just make sure that you put a weight in here for your product so that the shipping can calculate properly. Another thing that could happen is that you could charge the shipping at 0 weight, at 0 pounds, and you'll basically, say shipping would be like $2, but then you go to actually ship it and the shipping cost is more like $10. So you're kind of out that $8 because you didn't set the proper weight amount there. Now, if you're selling internationally, you're going to fill out these two items here. So this is going to be where you're shipping from, and then your harmonized system code, which is basically just the classification for border officers. Again, if you're not shipping overseas or internationally, you don't have to worry about this bit here. And then the last thing is product variants. So if you sell something with options, like let's say you're selling a t-shirt, well, you have different sizes of t-shirts, small, medium, large, extra large, and then you may sell it in different colors. So this is where you're able to set up all of your different variants. So there's a button right here that says add another option. You're going to click on that as many times as you need for all these options. The first one we're going to put in is size. So this is going to be all of your sizes. And then the option 2 would be your colors. So how many colors are offered. And what Shopify will do is it will automatically create all the different variations. And then for each variation, you could go in and add custom pricing to each one. You can set custom quantities, and you can also input their unique SKUs if you have them for each variation. So now that we've got all of our products imported and put into the website, and it can take a few hours depending on how many products that you are trying to sell. Next, we have to focus on the look and the feel of the website. And this is where we're going to select a theme. So a theme is a template that determines the way that your online store looks and feels. Different themes have different styles and layouts and offer a different experience for your customers. So for example, if you're selling spa products, then you probably want your online store to feel relaxed and luxurious. Alternatively, if you're selling electronics, then you might want your online store to look energetic and sleek. It really is, a personal preference how you want your website to look, but you also want to think about how the user is going to feel, using your website, and if the theme feels and the colors that you use feel appropriate for the products that you're trying to sell. So in order to select a theme, you can just click on Customize Theme here. So once you've published your first product, it will take you back to the dashboard. And this is going to be the second step. Again, if this is not here, you can click on Online Store here, and then Theme is going to be the first submenu item there. So you can see here how it opened up, and we are on the Themes option. So here, this shows you what your current theme is. So this is the debut, the default theme for Shopify. You can click on this green button to customize the theme, or you can scroll down a little bit and you can look at some other free themes, or you can look at premium themes. So premium themes they cost money. Usually they can be anywhere from $30 to $60. And the theme will usually have its own custom functionality a little bit. So if you're not worried about spending about $60 for a theme, definitely go through. These are a lot better than the free themes, but free themes are just perfect as well. So we're going to scroll back up and click on that customize button. And that's going to bring us to our editor, essentially. So the left-hand side here, this is going to be your page hierarchy. So we can see that we have our header up top, and then we have our page layout here. This section here is our visual editor, so we can actually see what the website looks like as we're editing it. And then if you want to change the page that you're editing, you can click on this drop down here and then select a different page. So spend as much time as you want customizing your website. Again, this is going to reflect your entire business, your products. You want it to feel welcoming. You want it to be appropriate. And you really want to do a good job, because this is going to be, your customers interacting with your brand, and you want it to be a good experience. So definitely spend as much time as possible doing that. And then once you're finished customizing your website, now we need to add a domain. So by default, your website address is going to be yourstorename.myshopify.com. In order to change that, you're going to have to purchase a domain. And luckily, you can purchase those directly through Shopify. And you can do that through the third option here and just add domain. Now, if you don't see this, I believe the domain is going to be under your settings. So if you click on this, there should be somewhere that allows you to edit your domain information. So when you click on the domain, it'll bring you up to like a search form. You can type in and see if your domain is available. And it will automatically, once you go through the purchasing process, it'll automatically assign it to your account, and your account will no longer be the .myshopify.com. It will just be, yourstore.com. And then the last thing that we have to do in order to get our website set up is actually have the ability to accept payments. And so this is where we have to set up our payment gateways. Now, there are many different payment gateway integrations available that you can use for your e-commerce site. If you've never used a payment gateway before, you can just use Shopify Payments. It's their built-in system. They charge all of the payment gateways, all the big ones, charge about 2.9% plus 30 cents. So if you sell a product for $100, just in order to make that transaction happen, you're going to be spending about $3.20 on that purchase. There are other options. There are companies that offer payment gateways, and one of them I think is called TSYS, so TSYS. They're a payment provider for small businesses. They charge a little bit less than that. So if you're wanting to save a lot of money in the long run, you can look for a third-party payment gateway processor that's out there. You can also use things like PayPal and Amazon if you're more comfortable with that. And for those of you who may already have a payment gateway like Square or Stripe, you can also integrate those through the third-party providers. Square is really nice because you can sign up for a free card reader. So, in the post-COVID era where we're all, interfacing in person again, if you want to go to like trade shows or something and sell your products there, you can swipe credit cards with a free mag reader from Square. Or if you've got a brick and mortar location, you can also do that. Like I said, those third-party companies, some of them also provide credit card processors for in-person purchases. So basically, it's just up to you, depending on what your needs are. Personally, I've been using Stripe for a very long time, but that's more of a payment processor and an invoicing system. It doesn't really have much in the way of stock or inventory management. Square has that inventory management system. Integration. So if you're selling products in person as well as online, it kind of keeps everything organized for you. But really, it's just up to you on which one you want, because they all charge the same 2.9% plus 30 cents. Now, once you start selling a large volume, that you can always contact their sales department and you can decrease that percentage So I've seen it go as far down as about 1.9% plus 30 cents. But again, that's doing, tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars in volume per month. So now that our website's set up, we've got all of our products in there, we've designed our website with a theme, we've set up our shipping, we've set up our payment processor. Now we got to get people to the website and actually buy our products, right? So now we're going to look at how to market your products to people and to start generating those sales. So the first thing that we're going to do, and we covered this in our digital marketing series. So if you've seen that, then this is just a repeat of that. But for those who didn't watch our digital marketing series, your customer avatar, which is known by many names, also like a buyer persona, is this basically your ideal customer. And you're crafting a person, so you want to try and be as in-depth as possible. You want to think about who you're trying to sell to. How old are they? What is their gender? Where do they live? How much money do they make? What are their interests? What are their behaviors? What are their buying habits? And you want to make as many of these customer avatars as possible, and the more detailed that you are, the more effective your marketing is going to be. Now this here's a little worksheet that I like to use when I'm creating my customer avatars, and you want to create one avatar per person. So you don't want to generalize, like, oh, men in their 50s or something. You want to be very, very specific. Like, this is Joe, he's 54, he's an engineer. He makes 80,000 a year. He likes do-it-yourself stuff. He likes to garden. He likes to take care of his yard. You really want to make sure that you're being as specific as possible. Does he have kids? Again, the more specific that you can get creating your different customer avatars, the more successful your marketing is going to be, and the less money is going to be wasted trying to figure this out. Because if you don't do this beforehand, you're going to waste a ton of money in advertising and marketing just trying to figure this out. So doing this beforehand is going to save you a lot of money, and you're going to hit the ground running. You're going to be more effective and more efficient with your marketing budget. So social media marketing, this is going to allow you to push your products in front of your ideal customers. And using your customer avatars, you can create target audiences inside of Facebook to hone in on the people most likely to purchase your products. So I'm going to go ahead and walk you through how to create a target audience. Now, in order to get to this, you have to either click on Boost a Post, or you have to create an advertisement inside of Facebook. Inside of there is going to be the audience section where you can create a new audience. And then you can even save the audience once you're finished with this button so that you can reuse them across your Facebook ads or your boosted posts, so you don't have to keep recreating this audience over and over again. So the first thing that we're going to look at is the demographics. Where do they live? Do they live in Sarasota, Florida only? Are you trying to sell to a specific type of customer? So let's say you're trying to sell a product to snowbirds, and it's in the winter. Well, all of those snowbirds, a lot of them are going to be in Florida, right? So you can target them that way. You can set their age. So I believe with Facebook, your age is going to be a range in about 10 years. So 30 to 40, 40 to 50. And then you can select your gender. From here, we can get into some more detailed demographics by clicking on Browse down here. And that way we can get into things like their educational level, their financial situation, life events, like do they have a wedding anniversary coming up, or do they have a birthday coming up? Does their spouse have a birthday coming up? Does somebody on the friends list have a birthday coming up? So you can really target people based on those life events. Are they parents? How many kids do they have? What are the genders of their kids? This is a great way to kind of, like, if you're selling toys, you can target parents who have children within a specific age range that's relevant to your toy that you're trying to sell. What is their relationship? Are they single? Are they married? Are they divorced? What do they do for work? So you can, again, as specific as you can possibly be with your customer avatars, the easier it's going to be when you get to this part. Then we can get into the psychographics. So this is how your customer thinks and behaves. What are their interests and what are their behaviors? So their interests, are they interested in a certain industry or business? What kind of music or movies do they like? Do they go to the gym a lot? Do they like fitness and wellness? What kind of food do they like? So if you're a restaurant and you're trying to sell things, you can advertise to people who like a specific type of food. Things like hobbies and activities. Do they play video games? Do they like computer stuff? And then shopping and fashion, and then what's really nice about Facebook is that you can target people based on their behaviors, like their purchasing behavior. This is a big one for e-commerce because you don't want to advertise to people who aren't going to click on your ad and buy something. So if you go into their purchase behaviors, you can target people who have a history of clicking on ads and buying things from the websites. So this is really good to really hone in on people who are actively purchasing things. Do they travel a lot? Are they expats? You can even specify on which devices that they use. So do they use desktop? Do they use mobile? Do they use Android? Do they use iPhone? Again, it's so in depth with this targeting, and that's why it's so important to do that customer avatar worksheet first and fill out as many of those as you can for all of your ideal customers. Next, we can fine tune your demographic. So we have two different buttons here that we can click on, either exclude or narrow audience. Now, these are more advanced features. You don't necessarily even have to touch, but I do want to just talk about them really quick. So the exclude button, if you click on that, it's going to open up a secondary detailed targeting. And if you know for a fact that, hey, I know that I'm not going to sell to anybody without kids. So you can click on exclude and you can exclude people who don't have kids. Or vice versa. If you know that you have somebody who's interested in this, and they also have an interest in something else. So let's say you want to narrow down the audience and say you want people who are interested in do-it-yourself, and that you want them to be interested in gardening because maybe you sell gardening tools, maybe you sell plants or trees or manure or compost or soil, whatever it may be. If it's relevant to that, but you want to target people who are trying to do it themselves and are trying to buy materials. So you can set up do it yourself, and you can narrow that audience down to people who also like gardening. So people in this interest here, these are all sort of like ors. So they're either interested in do it yourself, or they're interested in gardening, or they're interested in home improvement. But if you know that, hey, I want somebody who's interested in doing stuff themselves and they want gardening, that's when you would use narrow audience. Just a word of caution, when you hit narrow audience, that really brings down the basically how many people are going to see that your advertisements. So again, these are advanced features. Only use these if you know what you're doing. From there, once you set up your target audience, it will give you basically a rundown on your target audience. So, this is kind of a gauge here. Is your audience too broad or is it too specific? You want it to be just right in this green. So it's well defined, it's not overly defined, it's not underdefined. Then it'll tell you the potential reach, how many people are defined within the parameters that you set for your target audience. So this will tell you how many people you can potentially reach. Then what you can do is you can type in your budget, and this is a little bit above your target audience, but it'll tell you roughly how many people per day are going to see your advertisement based on your budget and your target audience, and then roughly out of those people, how many link clicks you can expect per day. So you can mess around with your target audience, you can mess around with your daily budget to kind of change how many people are going to see your ad per day versus how many people are going to click on your ad per day. Next, we're going to look at search engine optimization. SEO, which is the abbreviation for search engine optimization, accounts for over 50% of all website traffic. And this is what's really going to generate a ton of your sales, but it doesn't happen right away. The downside to SEO is that it does take anywhere from 6 to 8 months to even start seeing results from it. And that's because SEO is based on thousands of algorithms, and it takes time for Google to understand your website and to see the optimizations that have been made to it. Now, if you're interested in a more in-depth workshop on SEO, I did one back, I think last month or 2 months ago when we did our digital marketing series. So definitely, if you're interested in learning how to do SEO for your own e-commerce store, definitely check that out. Again, that's on the manasota.score.org website. You go into the workshop library, and then just scroll down and you should be able to find it there. With that being said, I am going to talk a very high level about SEO really quickly. So a SERP is an abbreviation or an acronym for search engine results page. Basically, this is the page that is shown after you type in something to Google. And what SEO does is it helps you rank organically in the SERPs. So these here are all the organic listings. This is all due to search engine optimization. Now, this map pack here, this is the Google My Business listing. And usually this is for local service businesses. This doesn't really have much to do with e-commerce. But 70% of users skip over the ads up at the top and skip over this and go directly to these organic listings. And the reason for that is because the whole purpose of Google as a search engine is to provide its users with the most relevant and trustworthy information based on what they searched for. So people know that, hey, these organic listings here, the advertisements, those are businesses paying to get you to go to their website. So they know to skip that because those aren't earned, whereas these organic listings, these are earned. Google says, hey, these are trust. When you can optimize your website and get yourself ranking very highly organically, that's going to start generating a lot of traffic to your website. And in order to do that, there's sort of three main pillars to the SEO. So you have your technical optimizations, you have your on-page optimizations, and you have your off-page optimizations. So technical SEO, just to sum up this slide, is basically everything that goes on under the hood of your website. This is all of the code of your website. Um, Especially for e-commerce websites, you want to make sure that you have proper schema markup. Now, this is extremely easy to do in WordPress because they have SEO plugins. The one that I personally use is called Rank Math, but Yoast SEO is the other really, really big one. The reason I like Rank Math is because it actually allows you to write your own custom schema markup. So for every single one of your products, you can edit the schema markup for each product so that a search engine can very easily read the code of their website, read that schema markup, and understand immediately, okay, this is what the product is, this is how much it costs, this is a picture of the product, here's some reviews, here's the rating for this product. And if you have that schema markup implemented properly, if you go onto Google and you search for a product, you sort of see the squares at the top with the product image and the price. Yeah, sure, some of those are ads, but that's also how you could get your products up into those little image boxes, is through that schema markup. So that's all underneath the technical SEO. Next is the on-page SEO. So for your products, you want to make sure that that your product description has a ton of content in it, and it's all talking about your product, that one product on that one page. Now with products, it's a little bit different than like a service-based website where they're trying to optimize for service-based keywords. In this instance, essentially what you're trying to do is optimize for your product name. What is the product? What does it do? What problem does it solve? We go in again in the SEO workshop, we go into things like long tail keywords and short tail keywords and which ones to target. So again, I highly recommend, if you haven't watched it, go back and watch that. Or if you have any questions about that, feel free to email me and I will be more than happy to answer the questions. The last SEO bit is the off-page SEO, and this is what we refer to as authority building or link building. And the best way to describe this is it's like a referral system, right? So remember what I said about Google as a search engine. It wants to serve its users trustworthy information. Well, the way that it grades this is it gives every single website that it indexes a rank. And that rank is essentially a trustworthiness factor. And so let's say I need a dentist and I go to about 3 or 4 different people and I say, hey, my tooth really hurts. Can you recommend a good dentist? Now, if all of those 4 people give me the same business card, then I've got it on pretty good authority that that's a good dentist to go to. And the same thing happens with websites. Google crawls through websites and it looks for links, that go to outside websites. So if a website is sending their traffic to another website, for instance, let's say you are selling toys and you have like mommy bloggers or toy bloggers, write a blog post about one of your toys and they link back to you. Google, and this is one of the things that takes, SEO forever to do because Google has to organically, go through, scan that website, find that link, connect the dots back to your website. And so Google sees that this website is referring their traffic to your website. And once you get a lot of websites referring their traffic to your website, again, Google slowly connects the dots and your authority, your trustworthiness increases in the eyes of Google. And that's how you increase your authority. And it's one of the best ways to really increase your rankings overall for all of your keywords. So hopefully that made a little bit of sense. Again, I go into a lot more detail in the other workshop. But next we're going to talk about email marketing. And I think this is the last marketing topic that we're going to talk about today. But email marketing is a great way to nurture leads and to create repeat customers. And there's really 2 ways to maximize your email marketing, which is through lead magnets and retargeted marketing. So lead magnets are like little freebies that you can offer on your website, whether it's like a newsletter sign up form or a free download that requires an email entry in order to access. These gathered emails can then be put into an email marketing platform like MailChimp or Constant Contact so that you can target them based on how you got their emails. So that's one of the nice things about email marketing platforms like MailChimp and Constant Contact is that you can create sub audiences so that you can automatically add in somebody's email. So if they put it onto your website, if they were downloading a PDF of something, as soon as they type in their email, it automatically gets added to that sub audience inside of your email marketing platform. So this way you can craft emails around how that person gave you their email. So if let's say you have an informational PDF on your product and they download it, they're interested in your product enough to where they gave you their contact info, they wanted to read more about it, but they didn't quite make a purchase yet. So you can, if you have them for multiple products, each one of those links would go into their own audiences. So that way you can create a customized email targeting the people who were more, who showed an interest in a particular product. And then you just create those a sort of string of emails to try and get them to purchase. So maybe you say, oh, we noticed you're interested in this, or thank you for downloading this. Here's some more information on that product. And then maybe a week later you send, oh, hey, check out this information about this product. And this is a great way to create a sales funnel that pushes a visitor that is interested in more information into becoming an actual paying customer. And then we can get into, and this is the last thing today, is retargeted marketing through emails. And so this allows you to create repeat customers. So this is usually done by sending out emails to current or past customers about special promotions, discount, new products, giving them a reason to come back again and again. You can also keep them up to date with the latest news about your company, keeping your business in front of the customer. But kind of like social media posting, consistency is the key, but you don't want to overdo it. You don't want to email people so frequently that they get tired of you and they just click, spam, your spam, because that's the last thing you want. So you want to make your emails meaningful, especially if they're newsletters. Now, if you're selling to wholesalers. If you've got your products, but you're also selling to wholesalers, that's completely separate, because you have to keep them updated with price changes, product changes, and things like that, as soon as they happen to keep your wholesalers in the loop. So that's different. But for just your end consumer, with newsletters, you want to limit these to once a month. If you have a lot of specials or promotions, try to group them into a minimal amount of emails. And with that, it concludes our e-commerce workshop for today. Some actions for you. If you don't have a mentor, go ahead and go to our website and sign up for one. They're completely free. So you've got nothing to lose and everything to gain. And it never hurts to have a second pair of eyes, helping you out with your business, especially with SCORE mentors. I mean, these are people who have been there, done that. They know how to run successful businesses. They know how to build up businesses. So you really have nothing to lose and everything to gain with a SCORE mentor. Next, you should be getting a survey, whether it pops up here or you get one in an email. Please, please, please fill that out, because that helps SCORE know how well I did. It lets me know how well I did and what I need to change in the future, so that I can constantly improve these workshops for all of you guys out there. And the last thing is just grow your business, right? That's what we're here to do. We're here to grow a business. And so with that, thank you everybody for coming out and listening to me ramble on about e-commerce and marketing. At this time, we're going to go through a Q&A. So if you have any questions, go open up the Q&A section, type in your questions. I'll sit here and answer them until about 1 o'clock, which is our cutoff time. If I don't get to your question, again, please email me and I will answer your question as soon as I can. So with that, we'll go ahead and let me open up the Q&A section here. So the first question that we have, my question is on taxes. I'm in Florida and someone advised me that I don't have to include taxes on my website since my business is registered under a fictitious name. Is that right? And if I do, how do I determine how much taxes to charge? So if your business is registered in Florida, the way that they monitor that is basically if you have nexus in the state of Florida, which means your business is registered there, or that's where you're shipping from, you're going to have to charge state tax. Now, with taxes, with WordPress, it's extremely simple to set up. It automatically calculates the taxes based on the end user's shipping address, I believe. It's either billing or shipping address. With Shopify, if you enable the collect taxes checkbox, again, I also believe that Shopify automatically collects taxes and automatically pulls the current tax rate from whatever the current tax rate is in Florida. It is a tricky question. I always say, just to be on the safe side, always collect taxes. If somebody purchases from out of state, you're not responsible for collecting taxes on that. They have to report that to their local government. I don't think anybody actually does that. But you're only responsible for collecting the tax inside of the state of Florida. I don't really know how to set that up in Shopify. I think it's under the settings where you can only charge tax based on, if they are buying from your state. But absolutely, you do want to make sure that if you are in Florida, that you are collecting sales tax for Florida sales. Would it be accurate to assume the barcode requirement fits specific retail streams? Examples, mass retailer versus a clothing or jewelry boutique. I would think items that move in large volumes would require one versus select customized items. Yep. So like I mentioned before, a barcode is really only needed if your retailer requires a barcode. So if you're dealing with large companies, like Walmart, Costco, Target, you are absolutely going to need a barcode. If you make, handcrafted jewelry or customized items that are kind of one-offs, you don't necessarily need a barcode, again, unless the retailer that you're selling it to or that's going to be selling your product requires that barcode. Could you talk a bit about drop shipping using Shopify? So I actually do have quite a bit of experience with drop shipping. It's very simple to set up. There is a free Shopify app. I believe it's called Oberlo, Oberlo. Oberlo also has a Google Chrome plugin. So if you are drop shipping items from like AliExpress or Alibaba, you can automatically, they have a free version, they also have a paid version, but using that plugin with that Google Chrome extension, you can go to AliExpress. There should be a button that shows up, like an Oberlo button that says like add product or something like that, and it will automatically import the product images, the description, the cost, and everything, and it'll also check for stock. So if that product goes out of stock, that plugin automatically puts it out of stock on your website. Now, drop shipping is, it's very lucrative because you don't have to deal with any type of inventory. You don't have a lot of, if any, overhead. I mean, the only overhead that you have is your online store. The only thing that I would make sure that you make available is if you are, drop shipping items from China, it's going to take about a month or two for your items to reach the US. So you want to make that clear on your website, whether it's like a shipping page or something, that the items are not going to arrive at your door in 3 days. Again, if you are drop shipping items from China, you want to make sure that they have an e-packet on there for the shipping option. That e-packet will allow you to actually track your package, as well as it's a little bit faster for shipping. So Shopify, it's a great platform to use if you do want to drop ship. It does have that integration with Oberlo. WordPress, it does have some of that too, but again, that's only paid plugins. So yeah, go for it. I had a little bit of success with drop shipping. It's definitely not for everybody. Your main problem, or hurdle, I should say, is going to be your marketing. Before you choose products to sell, you want to make sure that you do your market research very, very, very well. You're going to have to market that product very, very, very well. So drop shipping is all about the marketing, and that's really what you have to nail down. And one thing that really helps is doing those customer avatar worksheets, making sure that you are very specific so that when you do advertise on Facebook, or if you do search engine advertising, you have a good idea of who you're going to be selling that to. Let's see. Next, do I need a license or licensing? So if you're just selling products online, I don't believe you need a license. Again, as long as you're collecting sales tax and you are reporting the sales tax to the state, you should be okay. I think licensing only comes in play once you are trying to sell your products to wholesalers or to retail stores. Honestly, though, I don't know. So that's something that you would have to research. At least what I would do is contact the state and see if they require a license in order to sell products, because it could be different state to state. But that one I'm not too sure. Let's see. Can you add Shopify to a Wix page hosted on my own domain? So the short answer is no. Wix is its own website builder. If you want to add e-commerce to your website, I would, you can migrate your domain over to Shopify. You can keep your domain on your current host or domain provider, and you can just point it through your DNS settings to Shopify. Or if you're already in, if you already have a host or something, you can build a WordPress website. But you cannot add Shopify to a Wix page. You can add links to your store. So in your main menu, you can set up a Shopify account, keep it under the myshopify.com subdomain. And then on your main website, you can have in the menu like store. And when they click on the store, it goes to the Shopify website. But you can't add Shopify to Wix because they are two completely separate entities. Do you have information about the commissions that Shopify charges for drop shipping? So Shopify doesn't charge commission. It's not like Etsy where they have a service fee. You're paying the $15 a month to have the website to use the service, and then the only other time that you're paying is anytime you get a purchase. So that is the 2.9% plus 30 cents if you go through the Shopify payments. Aside from that, the only other payment that you're paying to Shopify is that $15 a month service fee. And then the last one that we have, if items are made to order, can I adjust the shipping dates in Shopify so customer knows it will take 8 weeks or so? Absolutely. So what you could do is on the product page itself, just make it very apparent, make it very obvious that, hey, these are custom made to order products. They can take, X amount of weeks in order to create, in order to manufacture. So, just let the customer be aware of that up front. And then also when they make a purchase, they get an email. Make sure inside of that email, it's in the settings in Shopify. You can type in your own custom content. In that order confirmation email, again, just reiterate that, hey, certain products are made to order. So shipping times can take upwards of 8 weeks while we create your product. So just make sure that that is answer just upfront so that a customer knows when they're purchasing the product that, hey, it is going to take a while. Another thing to do too is you can reach out to the customer directly from your own email and just let them know, hey, thanks again for the order. I do just want to let you know that because this is, created when you place the order, it will take a few weeks in order to create the product. So with that, I believe we have finished all of our Q&A. Again, if you have any other further questions, if you want some more information, feel free to email me and I will try to answer those questions to the best of my ability. 2 more questions came in. Can Shopify be added to WordPress? Again, no, Shopify is its own e-commerce system. WordPress has its own e-commerce system. There is no integration between the two. And then with liabilities, can liabilities be excluded? Is there a Shopify standard? So that would, it depends on the type of product that you're selling. If Shopify does have a policy, you're only allowed to sell certain types of products within Shopify. So I would read through their policy and see if you can sell the type of products that you're thinking about selling. Liability, that's more of a legal question. So I would, contact SCORE, see if they have any attorneys or something as a mentor that can help you answer that question. Or you can search around online for that. So thank you all very much for attending today. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to email me. If you are starting up a business, an e-commerce store, or you've got one, you're looking on how to improve it, or you're trying to sell your store, again, sign up for a SCORE mentor. They're free. These are people who have been there, who've done that. They're pretty much experts at building businesses and helping businesses grow. So please be sure to sign up for a SCORE mentor. So thanks again, everybody, and I will see you next time.